My brother borrowed my car for a date. Police found it abandoned with someone else's ID in the glove box. I handed Simon my keys on a Friday night without thinking much about it. He needed wheels for a date with Monica, some woman he'd met at a coffee shop. His car was in the shop, mine was sitting idle, and he promised to have it back by midnight. The police called me at 2 in the morning. They'd found my Honda abandoned in a grocery store parking lot on the east side of town. Doors unlocked, engine cold, no sign of Simon, no sign of anyone, but there was an ID in the glove box. A driver's license belonging to someone named April Brennan. I didn't know anyone named April. I told them my brother had borrowed the car and gave them what information I could. They said they'd be in touch. I tried calling Simon 6 times. It went straight to voicemail. By sunrise, I was sitting in my kitchen trying to make sense of it. Simon finally called back around 8, sounding exhausted. He told me he was fine, that there'd been a misunderstanding. When I asked him about April Brennan, he went quiet for too long. Just drop it, he said. I didn't drop it. I drove to his apartment and found him pacing his living room, looking like he hadn't slept. I demanded to know what happened. Simon said Monica never showed up to their date, that he'd driven around looking for her, then abandoned my car because he got a ride from someone else. The story made no sense. Why would someone else's ID be in my glove box? You're lying to me, I said. Simon sat down hard on his couch. He told me Monica wasn't real, or rather Monica was just an excuse. He'd actually been meeting April. When I asked who April was, his face did something I'd never seen before. He looked terrified. Over the next 2 days, I pieced together what I could. I tracked down the address on April's license and sat outside for 3 hours before a woman in her early 20s came out. She had my mother's eyes. She had my build. When I approached her, she knew exactly who I was. Simon said you didn't know, she said. 17 years ago, I dated a woman named Maeve for 4 months before she moved to California. We were young and careless, and I never heard from her again. Maeve died 3 years ago, and her sister Cyril had been raising April. Simon found out somehow, I still don't know how, and decided to orchestrate some reunion without telling me. He'd convinced April to meet him, told her he'd drive her to my place as a surprise. April explained that she'd gotten scared in the car. She'd grown up knowing I existed, but had never wanted contact. When Simon stopped for gas, she'd put her ID in the glove box, hoping he would return it later, then took off on foot. Simon panicked and abandoned my car, rather than explain what he'd done. I stood on April's doorstep while she watched me with my own face. I don't want a relationship, she said. I only agreed to meet Simon because he kept pushing. Please leave me alone. I drove home in my recovered Honda and found Simon waiting in my driveway. He told me he'd been trying to give me something I didn't know I'd lost. His face was pleading, desperate for me to understand. You can't fix something I never knew was broken, I told him. He got in his car and left.